Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ms. Rihanna van Koller, and welcome to this information session for the exams for Marketing 500. I hope to give you some guidance and some insights in your preparations for the exam. So, without further ado, I'm going to start with the presentation, and I would like to share my presentation. Okay, I would just like to confirm that my presentation is visible.
Yes, I can see on my end.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So, yes, so thank you. So, what I would like to do today is talk about the composition of the exam paper, your examination approach, some guidelines for the exam preparation, and to then also provide some opportunities for questions. I just also want to note that I'm recording this session and this recording will be made available afterwards. So, if I then go to the composition of the exam paper, and I will jump now across to my presentation. The composition of the exam paper. So first of all, I want you to keep in mind that you should prepare the assignment questions for the exams in the sense of that there could be similar questions asked, not the same ones, but the same type of aspects or different formats. So keep in mind the format of the assignment questions. Then also look at the assessment questions in your study guide. Use them to help you prepare and focus on the learning outcomes together with the learning activities and the assessment questions. And then, very important, make sure that you use the prescribed textbook together with your study guide as always. Concentrate on the relevant sections and pages as indicated for each learning activity that is in your study guide. And by now, you would have worked through most of the units because of the multiple choice questions as well as the assignment. Then the duration of the examination is going to be 3 hours. The total number of questions is going to be 3 questions, and altogether they would be 100 marks. So these 3 questions could have marks between 22 and 45 marks. And then per sub question, it would be between 5 and 15 marks. Very important as well is you don't have to apply examples from your work environment. You would have to apply the case study. So make sure that you do pay attention to the case study because that is going to be pulled through right through your exam paper. And after today, also make sure that you keep on checking your SPS emails as well as the additional information that is on your Canvas platform, all the communications in there, and make sure that you pay attention to that as well. So, how do we actually then approach the examination? So, at this level, at Marketing 500, application is key, but also to make sure that you do answer all of the questions. That, first of all, is for me key. And to apply, apply, and apply. So, make sure that you do study all the chapters that has been prescribed in your textbook and that you use your study guide together with your learnings from the textbook. Remember, the study guide is just an entry point, but your textbook explains information in detail, and also make sure that you understand the different topics that is in the textbook. When you read the questions in the exam, make sure that you also read the instructions very carefully. You don't have to rewrite any of the questions as before, and make sure that you answer each question very clearly and that you number all of the answers correctly. Answer the questions in line with the instructions and pay attention to how many marks each question would count. And make sure that the answers that you present will align with the questions being asked. Make sure that you always read all of the questions beforehand. I always advise, go through the case study first. Give yourself a few minutes to really understand the detail of the case study, and then also to read the questions very carefully before you start answering all of the questions. And make sure that you do answer all of the questions in the allocated time without leaving anything out, because it could have a negative influence on your overall performance. In preparation for the examination, also make sure that you can provide practical examples from your work environment. So you won't mention them in the case study, but look around in your workplace to see with the different topics, if you understand the topics and if something like that is applicable in your workplace. But then on the day when you look at the case study, that you actually apply from the case study accordingly. If there's any questions that are 20 marks and more, they must have a title, an introduction, headings, subheadings, and a conclusion. So, if it's not, still make sure that if you have a longer question, that you are very clear and structured. That if someone marks your work, that they can clearly see all of the points that needs to be taken into consideration. And do not use the examples that's in your study guide, your textbook, or your tutorial letters, because you won't get any marks for it. We want you to apply, formulate all of your own examples, especially at your level. It's going to be very, very important that you do accordingly. And remember, with marketing, when you apply it, you might interpret certain aspects different from the next marketer. But what is important is that you do apply, and that you apply in accordance with your textbook and as you would understand it, and do give examples. Okay, very, very important, and applications. So let's then jump to the exam guidance itself. So, very important, as I said, there's going to be 3 questions, and they would be altogether 100 marks. Now, question 1 will consist of 4 sub questions. The first one, 1.1, will be about the product life cycle. And make sure that you understand all the aspects around the product life cycle, not just on how to identify it, but also to give justification if you do identify a product in a specific point in time of its life. Why do you say this? And especially if you have to apply this to the case study, is to say, why does this apply? Now, the second question is all going to be about service profit chain, making sure that you understand that relationship and how all of the elements tie together within the service profit chain. Then 1.3, the marketing mix, understanding all the different P's and the extra C's, and making sure that you understand the marketing mix, and taking into account all the traditional and the more modern components with digital and electronic media. Then question 1.4 is going to be all about product decisions. So how do we actually approach our products, our product lines, and so forth? All the decisions that needs to be made around our products, and study this in depth and make sure that you do understand this topic. So that's question 1.1. Then if we jump across to question 2, and the case study will be especially applicable for questions 2 and 3. The first question under question 2 would all be all about customer relationship management. Make sure that you understand what provides value for a customer within a relationship, all the different components. Is there any processes? Is there any strategies? Keep it all in mind when you prepare for this topic. Then marketing program. Now, if we execute a marketing program, always remember that you have to be logical, and that you have to go through all the steps and follow all the requirements to put together a proper marketing program. So make sure that on the day when you have a question regarding a marketing program, that you don't just understand all the components, but that you would also be able to apply from the case study some examples applicable to the case study. Then for question 2.3, customer value. Very important. Once again, a little bit different from the first topic under customer relationship management, but still relating back to the customer, and how do we actually provide value for them on so many different value levels. So please make sure that you understand the topic of customer value in depth. Then question three. Now, question three, the first one, going global. Now, going global, always a nice challenge. Taking your homegrown brand and taking it overseas and taking it to other countries and making sure that you understand the challenges of now competing internationally. So make sure that you do understand this topic and how to apply it. Then going back to your brand, what does your brand represent? How do you actually develop your brand? What is the different aspects that you need to take into consideration when developing your brand? A very interesting topic. Then, of course, that's within the brand itself. But with question 3.3, this is about your business portfolio. This is again back to the bigger picture. Where does it all fit into? Where does your marketing plan fit into the bigger business plan? How do you put together your business portfolio and manage it? Make sure that you research this topic well and understand it. Then the last one, making sure that we understand all the macro environmental factors. What is the natural environmental trends that's impacting us when we look after our brands and our products? And those are all the different questions that's going to be applicable for the exam. We've put together a very nice case study for you, a very practical one, a very enjoyable one, and please look at it, in connection with all of these questions and apply accordingly. Very important. We want to know what your inputs are, your application, and your feedback. And I truly, truly wish you all the best for your exam preparations and that it all goes well. Remember, at this level, as I said before, it's all about application. Just writing down the theory is only going to get you a specific number of points. It's about how do you actually apply this theory and how do you apply it to the smaller detailed components as well as the bigger strategies. Make sure that you understand how all of these topics tie together as well and how you can apply it to a practical example and to a case study. So, without further ado, I would then like to say thank you and also give you an opportunity for any questions. So, I just would like to check in the room. Is there any questions on the presentation? Yes, Johannes, if you could unmute yourself.
Hi, Rihanna. Yes. Can I just maybe ask the part for going global challenges? Which topic in the textbook would I find the information
So, you would have to go to the chapter Undergoing Global.
going global? So, is it a specific topic or chapter in the textbook?
Yeah, it would be, yes.
Okay, because I have started with my studying when you sent out the breakdown of the exam. Um, so maybe I've missed it, but I struggle to find it.
Okay. So, if you just could give me a moment, I'm just going to mute myself for a moment. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I just had to quickly kill my phone there. Johannes, there's definitely a topic on going global. Just hold on 1 second for me. Just while I am having a look at that, is there anyone else that have a question from the presentation or anything else regarding today's session? Okay, so
Afternoon, Johan. Sorry,
yes,
Rianne.
good.
I'm sorry, mine is not in relation to the content of your presentation. I'm just wondering, do you only have 2 students for marketing?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
there's actually quite a number of students. So also taking into account, the availability of everybody, and currently with load shedding, it is
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a yeah. No, there's
Yeah.
actually a number of students. You
Oh,
don't have to be worried about that.
okay. No, I was just wondering.
No, there's
Thank
definitely quite a number of students.
you.
So yes, and yeah, and just to put your mind at rest, yes, which is great with the topic of marketing, especially at the level that you guys are at with marketing 500. And it's a topic that is, quite, how can I say it, at different levels, well represented, not just at Stadia, but also at other organizations and other universities and associations. So, if you could just hold on 1 second for me, I'm just going to, for a moment, jump away. I'll be right back. Apologies, guys. We had load shedding kicking in and just kicked me out of my computer. Johannes, I'm going to give you an answer shortly. Good afternoon. I just want to check if you are both still with me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
apologies for that. I had some load shedding that came through and I had to reboot. So yes, sorry, I had to reboot my Wi-Fi. So I wanted to just to let you know, Johannes, to answer your question, if you could go and have a look at study unit number 9 towards the end. So not just looking at the term going global, but also looking at international products and offerings. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. So international product and service marketing.
Yes. So go and have a look at that topic. That will link back to going global.
Okay. Thank you so much for that clarity. That will help. And
100%.
then on the last one, you said for natural environmental trends, you mentioned macro environmental factors. Should we put more focus on the macro environment factors or the micro environment factors as well?
So, Johannes, unfortunately, I can't break it down to that detail. I would want you to prepare everything around it and together with natural environmental factors because the question will, in the exam, will lead you in the right direction.
Okay.
So, prepare for me then all of that. That would be very important.
Okay. There's one more question. At 2.2, you said, I'm just quickly looking at my own notes that I've made. Marketing program. So that will fall under 2.2. And then 2.3, you said customer value. But if I'm not mistaken, in the breakdown you sent, you said, oh, okay. Okay.
So,
I see it's a little bit
remember,
mixed up. No, it's fine. It's
yeah.
fine. It's a little bit mixed up. So it's
No,
not in
that's what
order.
I was going to say to you. So in the instructional letter that we gave out, we've given all the different topics that are being covered, but we haven't referred to specific questions or and so forth. But that's the intention of today's session is just to give you a clear indication. But the topics still remain, and you have to then prepare those
And I can
topics.
see all the topics is there.
So that's good. So that's good. So
Yeah.
so yes. So I hope I've given you guys some insights in your preparations for the exam, and I really wish you well for the exams. If there's, as I said before, if there's any questions, please let me know. But very important, make sure, as I said before, is that you do also look at applying for each question. So don't just learn the theory. Make sure that you would be able to apply practical examples and look very carefully at the case study. Read the case study very carefully. There's enough information there to assist you with formulating your examples. And yes, so from my side, I'm going to stop the recording. There we